Today we will start a new spectroscopy, that is infrared spectroscopy, right? Okay, so as we know that infrared spectroscopy or also called the vibrational spectroscopy, right? Because it is concerned about the vibrational energy, change in vibrational energy levels, right? And this vibrational energy level, the changes occur in the infrared region of the spectrum. That's why they are called infrared spectroscopy, right? So technically it's vibrational spectroscopy, but more commonly it is known as infrared spectroscopy. Now in infrared spectroscopy, as we said that it is vibrational, so first we'll discuss by what we mean by vibration, right? And what is the basis, what is the theory behind it, and how the energy level occurs, right? And ultimately maybe in the next lecture or thereafter we'll discuss about the use, the application of IR spectroscopy in mostly in organic chemistry, right? But first let us discuss that how this I mean vibrational levels are characterized and all that. Okay, see, first let us see check these diatomics, right? Let us consider first diatomics, a diatomic molecule, right? Now you can say there are many types of diatomic molecule, right? Say for example HCl. Now H2 is also a diatomic molecule, right? Cl2 is also a diatomic molecule, but as we have discussed in the first lecture of infrared spectroscopy, that is in general discussion, we discussed that spectroscopy can occur, I mean we will see any spectral line only when this changes, there is some changes in the molecule that interact, or there is some property in the molecule that can interact with the either with the electric component or the magnetic component of the electromagnetic radiation. Now you see in this HCl there is some dipole moment, right? Now if there is a change in dipole moment, that will interact with the electrical component of this radiation, I mean infrared radiations, right? That has the energy corresponding to that infrared radiations. So this will show infrared spectroscopy. But these two examples, this homonuclear, these are homonuclear, right? Because they are the same nucleus, homonuclear diatomic molecules, right? See, they do not have any dipole moment, right? So if they do not have any dipole moment, whatever the vibration is, right, the dipole moment will not change. For example, here this HCl, right, whenever it will vibrate, the distance will change, and as the distance will change, the dipole moment will also change, right? That we know, because it is charged into the distance between them. But these two, as they are homonuclear, right, they do not have dipole moment, and so there is no occurrence of change of dipole moment, right? So their vibration will not interact with the electric component of the electromagnetic radiation. As such, they will not show IR spectroscopy, and they are not IR active. So these are IR inactive. That does not mean that they do not vibrate. They of course vibrate along their bond, but they will do not show IR spectroscopy, because their vibration will not interact with electromagnetic radiation, right? Whereas HCl will, right? Or any other molecule which has general formula of say AB, right? Carbon monoxide can another be example, right? This carbon monoxide, because it has two different nuclei, right? Now whenever we say that this bond between two atoms is formed, two different atoms, say here in case HCl or carbon monoxide, or in general let us say AB, right? So it can be electromagnetic bond, it can be polar covalent, it can be covalent bonding, or and there are different theories behind it, right? You have valence bond theory, you have molecular orbital theory of formation of this kind of bonds. We will not go into details of bond formation here. What we will instead consider is, let us say this AB, whenever they form a bond, say A and B, there is an electronic rearrangement, right? Whatever be the theory, there should be a electronic rearrangement. So there is an electronic rearrangement, right? Whenever there is a bond formation between two atoms, right? Now suppose this is, I am putting the positive for the nucleus, right? This is the nucleus of A, and say this is the nucleus of B, okay, and there are electron clouds, right? There suppose this is the electron cloud, right? All the dots are not electron, I am just showing that these are the electron clouds, right? Okay, right, and suppose there is a bond formation between them, right? So what are the forces interacting? See, there is a repulsion force between these two electrons, electrons of A and electrons of B. So I can say this is repulsive force, right? This is R. So okay, let me put it capital R, repulsive force. Another repulsive force is between these two nucleus, positively charged nucleus. So another repulsive force is there, right? So repulsive nucleus, repulsive electron, right? But there are also two attractive forces. The nucleus of A will attract the electron of B, right? So this is attractive, right? So nucleus and electron, and another attraction is nucleus of B will attract the electron of A, right? So this is another electronic and nucleus attractive force. So there are two attractive force and two repulsive force. Whenever there is a bond formation, right, there must be an what between a balance between them, right? So there must be a balance between these two attractive and repulsive forces, right? So we can say that whenever a bond is formed, there is a something called balancing of forces, right? Attractive and repulsive forces. Now if you try to squeeze this, means if you try to put this A and B much closer, then this balanced position, what will happen? There will be more and more repulsion, right? And if you try to take away, right, these two atoms away from the balancing position, then this attractive force will prevent it, right? So these balancing of forces occur at a particular position, right? But these are not fixed. That means, see, if you can draw this, suppose I draw this. So in the x axis, let us put internuclear distance, that is R, okay, and here let the energy of the system. At which position the energy of the system will be lowest? Of course at the balanced, I mean when the force is balanced, right? That position, let us call it R eq, that means R equivalent position, right? Equal, when the forces are equal, and this is nothing but what we call bond length, right? R equivalent is actually our bond length, average bond length, sorry, I should write average bond length, average bond length. Right? Now suppose this, let us take the example of HCl. Now suppose this is the origin, and suppose this is fixed here, this chlorine, right, and the hydrogen is here, right. So this is our what, R EQ, right. So this is our equivalent position, I mean, and that is our average bond length. Fine. Now in this equilibrium position, right, that is we are calling bond length. Now suppose you want to squeeze it. Now let the Cl be fixed. What important is the distance between the two, not the relative motion between the two, right. Now suppose you are squeezing it. Now say, and so the energy will increase. We already discussed, because the repulsive force now will increase, and so the energy of the system will increase. Suppose the energy of the system increases when you put H here at this position. If you put H in this position, so now the bond length is short, right? Bond length is shorter, and the energy, suppose it is say E1. Okay, so energy, so I should draw a straight line here. Okay, now if you squeeze it even more, what will happen? Suppose you are squeezing it even more, then the energy will increase even more, right? Suppose this is E2, right? If you squeeze it even more, then the energy will increase even higher than that, right? So we will form a curve like this one, like this, okay, and this is at 0 position, the R equilibrium R, okay. Now you see, if you try to do the same thing by elongating the bond, right, what will happen? Here also at some position, if you increase the bond at some extent, then the energy will be E1, right, and again if you extend it, again it will be E2, and if you go on, then E3, right. So that means this picture shows what? That means this in equilibrium position, the energy of the molecule HCl is lowest, but whenever there is a vibrational energy, that means this is now vibrating between these two positions, this H, right, here and here. If it is vibrating, right, whenever this bond is vibrating, it has different energy levels. More the vibration, more the amplitude of vibration, means the distance, not the frequency. The frequency will be same, we will see just now, the frequency remains same, but more the vibration, more will the energy of the system, right. So this is actually, we can consider these things as a spring, right. This compression and extension of this bond can be linked it as a spring, right. Suppose A and B or H and Cl, right, is bonded via a spring, right. Now there is an equilibrium position, of course, in a spring, but if you just pull them and set them on their own, what will happen? They will vibrate, sometimes they will come closer, right, and sometimes they will be elongating, right. So this is our vibration, and for a basic model we can consider this vibration of diatomics similar to that of spring, right. So we know from Hooke's law, you have read in class 11 physics, right, that this restoring force equals to this force constant K, and what is R minus R equivalent, R equilibrium, this is the distortion, right. This is the distortion, right, and this energy is given by half K and distortion square, right. R equivalent square. Okay, so this is the energy. So this is our, we get this from Hooke's law. Okay, now this kind of model where we consider Hooke's law, right? If you remember, they are called simple harmonic oscillators. Simple harmonic, right, oscillator. Simple harmonic oscillators. Only they follow this Hooke's law strictly. Right. Now, in this, from Hooke's law, we also know what will be the frequency. We already know the frequency of oscillation given by, from classical mechanics, of course, we are getting this. And this is given as in hertz, right? That is second inverse. Okay. Now, what is mu? Mu is the reduced mass of the system, and this is the spring constant. See, one interesting thing to note is that this this frequency is dependent only on the mass of the system and the spring constant, right? This frequency is independent on the distortion, that is R minus R equivalent, right? That means how greater the vigorous the vibration is, right? Vigorous vibration means the amplitude, right? The frequency will be same for all these cases, right? Frequency will not change. Now, from this, right, in IR spectroscopy we actually use centimeter inverse, the unit of centimeter inverse, that is our wave number, right? So, how to convert frequency to wave number? If you just divide this by frequency divided by speed of light, right, will give you wave number, and this will be equal to 1 upon 2 pi c root over of k by mu, right, and the unit will be centimeter inverse. You can clearly see this is the unit of frequency is second inverse, and you divide it by centimeter second inverse. So, this cancels out and this will be centimeter inverse. Okay. And what is reduced mass? Reduced mass is, suppose we are taking the molecule AB, then reduced mass is mass of A multiplied by mass of B divided by the sum of the masses. This number we call it as reduced mass. Okay. Now, as was the case with electronic spectroscopy and our discussions with this particle in a box, these vibrations are also, vibration and energies are also quantized, right? And if you solve the Schrodinger equations, right, we get these energies. So, V stands for vibrational, equals to V plus half of h nu, right, and this will be in joules. And what is this one? This V is the vibrational quantum number. Right. Vibrational quantum number. Okay. And h is Planck constant and nu is the frequency. Okay. Now, if you convert it to in IR terms, in IR spectroscopy, as I said, by convention we use wave numbers. Now if you want to convert this to wave number, so in wave number energy, let us say this is epsilon v equals to this EV just divided by h. So if you divide it by h, you will get the frequency, and if you divide it by c, you will get the wave number. So this will be turning out to so you will get this v plus half, h cancels out, so nu divided by c is nu bar, and the unit will be centimeter inverse. Okay, so we can do the calculations just by from joules also, but I will do for every step I will try to do the both the units, because in IR we are more acquainted with centimeter inverse. Okay, now this is the expression of energy. These two, both of them are correct. In joules it is just the units, right? If it is asked provide it in joules, then you have to write this one. If it asked provide it in wave numbers, then in this one. Okay, now see the beauty of this reaction, as in the case with particle in a box. Here also there are several energy levels. Okay, what I have not mentioned is vibrational quantum numbers can have values 0, 1, 2, etc. Right. Now if you put when v equals to 0, right, this E0 or this epsilon 0, this turns out what? This turns out to be, this is half of h nu, right, and this will be half of just this one. Okay, so this will be in joules, this will be in centimeter inverse. Okay. See, this means that even in the lowest vibrational level the molecule will have some energy, right, and that means it is never completely at rest, it will always vibrate. So vibration is going on even at level 0, it has some vibrational energy. This means it is never at rest, and same we saw in the case of particle in a box also. So and these are called, as in we have already know, these are 0 point energy, right. So 0 point energy for a vibrational level is these two, right, these two expressions. Okay, and also from these solutions, this Schrodinger solution of Schrodinger equation, we get when the solution is not included in this curriculum, and it, I mean not in the scope of this class also. So we can just take the result that selection rules, right, for this simple harmonic oscillation vibration is delta V equals to plus minus 1, right. That means we can have transition from when V change only by unit, only one unit, right. It can be from upper level to lower level or lower level to upper level. Upper level to lower level means it's an emission, and lower level to upper level means it's an absorption. Okay. So up to this, what we saw the simple harmonic oscillator model, and we calculated, or we took the results of derivation, other derivations, and we found out the 0 point energies and the selection rules. Now if you apply both of them, you can easily calculate the frequency or the energy gap, right. Let us do another diagram, right. Okay, see, one thing I missed out, let me show you again. In the previous slide, see the energy, this one, right, half of k and the square of the this distortion, right? So so this is in the y axis, sorry, x axis, and energy in the y axis. So if you plot this, the graph will look like a parabola, right? Okay, my diagram is not perfect, but it will look like parabola. So this is in the shape of, say, right, in the form of this one. So this will be a parabolic. So directly we can draw this kind of structure, right? Parabolic, this thing. Okay, now energy, and here we have this internuclear distance. Okay, so this is, of course, we know this is R equivalent, right? So in R equivalent, energy is also 0, right? Now in the lowest vibrational level, what we saw here, V equals to 0, and what was the energy? We already calculated, right? Half of inverse, right? Okay, now what is the next one? See, if you put 1 here, so it will be 1 and half, that is 3 by 2, right? So it will be 3 by 2. The next one is 2 and half, that is 5 by 2, then 7 by 2, right? And so on. Okay, now what is the energy gap between them? The energy gap between them is what? 3 by 2 minus half, that is 1, right? So same is the energy gap here also, same here, same here. So all these gaps, energy gaps, are equal. That means the vibrational energy levels are equally spaced, right? All these energy levels are equally spaced, means, see, and this difference is, you can clearly say it's nu bar, right? All of them are a nu bar. Now if they are equally spaced, right, and you are imposing a selection rule of that delta V equals to plus minus 1, that means you can either have transition from 0 to 1, or 1 to 2, or 2 to 3, or 3 to 4, these like this. Whatever be the transition, all these energy gaps are at nu bar, same energy. So whatever be the transition is, if you have a spectra, you will see only one line, that is at nu bar, right? Whatever be the value, it will have only one line, single line, because it is, all the vibration levels are equally spaced, right? That's why here is our departure from the real molecules, right? Real molecules cannot be considered as simple harmonic oscillators, right? Rather, they were considered as anharmonic oscillators, right? So they do not follow Hooke's rule strictly. Why we discuss this? Because this gives us an idea. This, if you follow this Hooke's law, this gives us an idea that how these vibration levels are quantized and so on, right? But in real cases, these vibrational levels, I mean, are quantized, but they do not follow this anharmonic, I mean this simple harmonic oscillation or Hooke's law, because in real cases, I mean, you cannot elongate the bond more than 10% of its equilibrium bond length, right? Because if you do that, the bond will break, Break means the atoms will be separated. Cl and H will be separated if they go beyond, if they vibrate too much, right? So that's why the when you draw the part of elongation, right, there will be some difference. Right? Let us say, let's draw it in yellow. So in anharmonic oscillation, the graph will look like this, the yellow one, right? And what is this energy? This energy is of course called D, right? D, that means bond dissociation energy. So if you apply this much of energy, the bond will break. So after that, there is no system of this bond, right? So bond itself will break if you elongate too much. So for real purposes, we do not use this equation, Hooke's law equation. Rather, we use, Hooke's law means we do not, for this one, this is good. Fine. But for this one, right, PM modes, actually this is an purely empirical equation. Empirical means just by trial and error, right? You have no derivation for it. Right? We have to use, for real purposes, we have to use this one. Right? Exponential A R equivalent minus R, sorry, not equivalent, I am R equilibrium and R. Square. Okay. So this, there is some simple change in the equation, right? This is for anharmonic oscillators. Right. Now, if you just replace this equation with Hooke's law equation in the Schrodinger equation, you get the energy that you get is, I am just writing directly in this form, that is our centimeter inverse form, right? Okay, this nu bar is for anharmonic oscillations. So let's put A here, right? This A will remind us that this is for anharmonic oscillators, right? So this part is similar to our harmonic oscillation, right? But we have another part here. Whole square into, and a new term Xc. And what is Xc? Xc is defined as the anharmonicity constant. Constant, right? This anharmonicity constant has a positive value and small, and so this is small and positive and nearly equal to 0. So this is plus, of course, 0.01. Okay. So this is our new equation for energy. Now you can easily calculate the 0 point energy here also. Right? If you put 0, it will change. Right? It will not be just half nu bar as it was in the case of simple harmonic oscillations. So this is the case for real models, real problem. In fact, this is also not very actual. This is not very accurate. For accuracy, you have to go on this higher powers. For cubic, quadratic. This is quadratic just for cubic and then all these quadric terms, all these things, right? But for simple purposes, for smaller vibrational levels, this is good. Okay. Now, one interesting thing to calculate here is, let us now do this calculation for this one, right? This energy of transition. So say EV to V, right? So from higher level to lower level, so this is an emission case, but the value will be same for absorption if you do it from V to V plus 1, right? What we will do, we will include EV plus 1 minus EV. So this is our calculation. So let us do. So this part, see, will cancel out. So let's say V plus 1 plus half nu A bar minus V plus 1 plus half square nu A bar x e, right, minus of this thing. What is this here now? V plus half nu A bar minus, so it will be plus V plus half whole square nu A bar xc, right? So you can easily see these two terms will ultimately give you only nu A bar, right? Because here V plus half and V plus half will cancel out, and will be only left with 1 into VA nu A bar. Okay. Now if you expand these two things, you will be having, say, V plus 3 by 2 square. So if you expand it, it will be V square plus 3V plus 9 by 4, right? So nu A bar into xc, right? And here you will have here it will be minus, because I have taken the negative sign outside, so it will be V square plus V plus 1/4, right? And of course, okay, you can take these two also outside, right? So nu A bar and xe, let us take both of them outside, right? So let us cancel it here, right? Let us okay. So it will give you nu A bar minus, see, all these will cancel out, leaving only 2V plus, so this is 2 and 1/4 minus 1/4, so it will be only 2, right? And nu A bar x e. Okay, so this is our expression. Whereas for simple harmonic oscillation, if you remember, what was the expression for simple harmonic, for say S simple harmonic oscillation, it was to V was just bar, right? That's why we had all these equally spaced, right? But now see what will happen. Let us do this calculation again. Okay, So I will just take this expression. So our E V plus 1 to V is nu A bar, right, minus twice V plus 2 to nu A bar XE. Okay. Now say from V1 to 0, right? What is it? What will be the value? Nu A bar is there. Okay. So V is 0 here, right? So if V is 0, then you have 2A. That means already you can see the energy gap has decreased, isn't it? From 0 to 1, it was just nu bar there. Now it is nu bar minus some other factor, some other number is there. So the energy gap is decreased. Now if it is for say 2 to 1, here V will be 1. If you put V equals to 1 here, then it is nu A bar minus 4 nu A bar into XC, right? And similarly nu 3 to 2, if you put, it will be, if you put V equals to 2, it will be 6. See, that means as you are going increasing the V, the vibrational quantum number, the energy gap is decreasing, right? So that means now, if first let us draw the Morse curve here. Now this energy gap, if it is vibrational level 0 and say this is vibrational level 1, right, this energy gap is given by this one. Okay, but this V2 will be a bit closer than this one, right? V3 will be much more closer, V4 even closer. So these gaps are decreasing, right? This means these vibration levels are crowding more closely together with increasing V, right? Okay, now they are not equally spaced. That means not equally spaced. They are not equally spaced. Now see what will happen, what is the consequence, right? Now another consequence of this enharmonicity is the selection rules also changes. This selection rule, right? The selection rule was for simple harmonic was delta V equals to plus minus 1, but by solving the Schrodinger equation for this enharmonic oscillation, this selection rule is changed now and it is plus minus 1, plus minus 2, plus minus 3 and so on, right? So this integral change of all the integral change of this vibrational level is allowed now. So what is the consequence? Suppose now from 0 to 1 you have plus 1, 0 to 2 plus 2, 0 to 3 you have plus 3. Now you can see different energy levels, so different bands also, right? So you have, suppose say you have 3 bands, from 0 to 1, 1 to 0 to 2, or 0 and 0 to 3, right? And in fact, if you even if you have 1 to 2, they will be also have different frequency, right? Suppose nu bar that is this increasing this way, so this and if this is 0 to 1, right? So 1 to 2 will be lower than this one, right? Because we already see this 1 to 2 gap is lower than the gap of 0 to 2. Okay. Now with this selection rules, now we have a change selection rule, that is plus minus 1, plus minus 2, plus minus 3, right? let us see consider some cases. Suppose let us say we consider the first three transitions, that is plus 1, plus 2 and plus 3, delta V plus 1, plus 2 or plus 3. So similar will be the case with minus also, so we do not have to worry about that, right? Let's see. First let us take the example of say V equals to 0 to V equals to 1, that is delta V now here equals to plus 1, right? So delta E I am writing in epsilon because we are doing in this centimeter inverse unit, right? V equals to 1 minus V equals to 0, right? So what we have? We have 1 plus half bar minus 1 plus half whole square nu A bar into xc, right, minus of this 0 point energy, right? Now here 0 point energy will be half of nu A bar minus half square nu A bar into xe. Okay, so this will give simplify. If you simplify it, you will ultimately get this one. You can do it as an exercise, but I am writing it here, right? And the unit will be in centimeter inverse. Right? So in way of doing this, we have already calculated the 0 point energy of enharmonic oscillation also. This is the 0 point energy of enharmonic oscillator. Right? So this is our energy gap, right, for these transitions. Now so we have already done it, right? So for 0 to V equals to 2, right? What we have done it here, this figure actually matches with this one, 0 to 1 we have already done it, right? But this we haven't done from 0 to 2. So here delta V equals to plus 2. So if you do same kind of exercise, that is your V equals to 2 minus V equals to 0, right, you will end up with twice nu A bar 1 minus 3xc, right? I am not doing the simplifications. You can, if you want to, you can do it. Okay, is in centimeter inverse, right? Okay, there is no more space, so let's do another one, case 3. So V equals to 3 to V equals to 0, that means delta V equals to plus 3, sorry, it is 3. Okay, so here delta epsilon will be here V equals to 3 minus V equals to 0, and if you simplify it, you will get bar 1 minus 4xc centimeter inverse. Okay, so if you compare this, let us see. So it was 1 minus 2 xc, so this is centimeter inverse, in 1 centimeter inverse, and another one was twice of nu A bar into 1 minus 3xc, and the third one is thrice of nu A bar into 1 minus 4xe. Okay, all in centimeter inverse. Right. See, this is actually, this all are, I can say, as this xe is 0.01, these figures in the parenthesis are very very small, isn't it? It becomes 1 minus, so it's actually this in the parenthesis these figures are actually nearly 1, right? So what is the implication of it? This implies that they are nearly equal to each other. This 3a inverse is nearly equal to what, 3 times of sorry, I should not have written this. This is actually nearly equal to thrice of nu a bar, right? Nearly equal to twice nu a bar, right? Isn't it? So they are very close to, I mean not close to each other, roughly they are double and triple, right? So in fact, if you see the data for HCl, right, HCl shows an intense absorption band, this one, from 0 to 1 at 2886 centimeter inverse, right? Another band at 5668 centimeter inverse, and another band at 8347 centimeter inverse, right? You do not have to memorize these things, just to show that this is nearly double of the first one and this is nearly triple of the first one, right? So this is called, this band is termed as the fundamental absorption, fundamental absorption band, right? Whereas this is called the first overtone and this is the second overtone. So first overtone and second overtone, right? So if it is asked what are overtones, just tell that these are the transition from zeroth level, that means V equals to 0 to V equals to 2 and V equals to 3, right? And the fundamental is from V equals to 0 to V equals to 1, right? Why it is fundamental, why they are overtones, and why? See, because the energy gaps are increasing, right? So these, the intensities will also decrease. These intensities of these first overtone and second overtones will also decrease, right? Because the energy gaps are increasing. Okay. Now the last point of today is from this discussion is, if you remember, we discussed the population level, right? Where n equals to n to this V equals to 1 to by V equals to 0, the ratio of population. This was given by the energy gap divided by Boltzmann constant into temperature, right? So these vibrational energy levels are nearly 10 to the power minus 10 to the power 3 centimeter inverse, right? We are calculating centimeter inverse, so you can easily calculate these things, right? Say so the energy gap will be, oh sorry, here this is a minus, right? A minus sign is there. So energy gap will be Planck's constant, so that is 6.63 into 10 to the power minus 34. Okay, let me do it. It might be difficult to understand. Let me do it like this way. So energy is H multiplied by nu, that is frequency, but here we have what? We have centimeter inverse. Now if you put centimeter inverse, the difference between centimeter inverse and this nu divided by energy equals to centimeter inverse. Now if you put centimeter inverse, then we have to put multiply it by to get the nu. So we put here centimeter inverse, that is the nu bar or wave number, into multiplied by this C by K, and T is our room temperature, so we can take nearly 300 for our calculation to be smooth. So this is Planck's constant is 6.63 into 10 to the power minus 34 into multiplied by, we said that energy gap is in the range of 10 to the power 3 centimeter inverse, right, and speed of light is 3 into 10 to the power 10 in centimeter per second, right, and 1.38 this Boltzmann constant multiplied by 10 to the power minus 23 into 300 Kelvin. Okay, so if you do this, so 3 cancels out, it will be 1 into 4 times 1 2 3 4, yeah, it will be nearly more than 4, I think 5, so it will give expression of nearly 4.8. okay, so it will be nearly 0.008. that means we can also write it that NV equals to 1 by NV equals to 0 is nearly equals to 0.01. that means for every 100, right, 100, yeah, 100 molecule, there is only one molecule in the vibrational level 1, first vibrational level. So this is relatively good, and this, what does it say? That most of the transitions will take place from V equals to 0, right, because the population of V equals to 1 is very low. But if the temperature is increased, then the population can be increased. Now let us see one such case, right. Suppose this fourth case, let us consider V equals to 1 to V equals to 2. Here also we are not violating the selection rule. The selection rule is again plus 1, right, and this delta energy gap will be, say, this one. If you do this, so it will be E of V equals to 2 minus epsilon V equals to 1. Okay. If you put these values, ultimately you will get nu bar 1 minus 4, see, 1 minus 4xc. Now this is much lower than this, the first overturn, fundamental vibration. See, this was nu bar multiplied by 1 minus 2xc. Here we have nu bar multiplied by 1 minus 4xc. So this is lower, right, this is lower than the fundamental vibration, lower than the nu bar for V equals to 0 to 1, right. So it will occur in the lower level, lower origin, but the intensity will be very low. Intensity will be very low because the population in the first vibration level is itself lower, right. one thing, and these bands are not usually seen. They are seen only at higher temperature. That's why these bands are called hot bands, right? Okay, so this was the discussion about our harmonic oscillator model and enharmonic oscillator model, how the real thing differ from the simple harmonic model, and we have calculated the vibrational levels and see the difference and what we expect, how many bands we expect, right? All these things. In the next lecture tomorrow we will discuss our the types of vibrations, right? The types of vibrations that are possible for not only diatomic but also for polyatomic, simple polyatomic molecules, right? And which will be IR active and which will be not IR active, right?